All right, well, I want to talk about shallow fishing. I told you over the last few years, I've gotten a little bored fishing 10-killer. So I've gotten away from my shallow fishing. Guys, I used to go there and we fished a little winter jackpots and things like that. And, you know, we would catch them and come in and guys say, oh, water temperature is 40 degrees. You must have been fishing 20 foot deep and this kind of stuff. And boat be sitting in 6 foot and I'd be burning a bandit catching them. I mean, and I don't mean catching them like 25 a day. I mean getting like 10 to 12 bites. It seems like the bigger ones kind of own the bank in the wintertime. That's where they want to be at. But whenever you're out in the wintertime, kind of stay open-minded a little bit. I mean, fish deep some, but every now and then, there's some bushes in the water. I'm going to go up there and flip them. Or a stump or things like that. And where I got kind of introduced to that is a lot of people around the house, they gig for them. And I'd be out in the wintertime, and the first days of wintertime fishing was setting out and just throwing a jig. That's all you had was just a jig. And you'd be sitting in 20 or 30 foot. And guys say, man, I was gigging last night and these big ones are just lined up all down the bank. Nah, it's wintertime. And you get up there and you start fishing, and sure enough, you start turning a few heads and they're big. What I talked about earlier in that last slide where the creek channel come up and we had the flat, are areas that are consistent. Those areas day in and day out in the wintertime are going to be your consistent areas. A lot of times in the winter, you may get some wind that will move those fish from that ledge on down 100 yards or move them up on top of the point. But all in all, in the wintertime, that one little section is going to be that one ledge is going to be your most consistent. And it doesn't matter if you're throwing a jerkbait, a jig, a swim bait, an Alabama rig, it doesn't matter. It's all going to be the same. Next slide, please. This is, as I was talking about earlier, things that happen underneath the water that we don't see. Some of the places that I'm fishing now, some of the pictures that you see on Facebook with the big smallmouth and things like that, I'm fishing areas that look just like this that are underneath the water that you can't see. Out in the middle, where the contour lines are sharp, that's what that looks like underneath the water. And I'm going to show you something real quick, because I've see this area right there where the B is, where the bluff is vertical, and then you have this area here and here where I call it shelving. If you find that shelving, that's usually the juice. That's usually where they're going to be at. On occasion, they tend to get more on this straight vertical stuff, but more times than not, if I can find this shelving off the edge, that's where you're going to catch them. For largemouth or smallmouth? Both. Yes, both. And I'm talking about wintertime fishing. Yes, and I'm talking about smallmouth. I've just kind of gotten this smallmouth craze the last couple of years. Like I said, it's something new to me, and it's cool to be able to go to a lake and fish for them. Used to, if you caught one on 10-killer, it was an accident. Now I can go to 10-killer and I can say, I'm going to fish for smallmouth. And if you catch a largemouth, it's an accident. It used to be vice versa, but you can actually fish for them. Anyway, I'm looking for this shelving, whether it be physical and visible on the bank or out in the middle of the lake. Next slide. Guys, when I go fishing in the wintertime, I'm simple. Remember that I got 5 rods on the deck. I have 5 techniques on the deck. 3 of them are jerk baits. I always have 3 jerk baits. And I'll have a jig, a swim bait, crankbait, and I think that's it. Now there's variation between those, but the jerk bait are 3 different tools. We have 3 jerk baits now. One's Elite 8, one's the old Standard Rogue, and one is the Perfect 10.
It's Mike Iaconelli. This is Bass U TV.
Here's what's awesome about Bass U TV.
You get the top instructors.
You will learn things at Bass U that you will learn nowhere else.
We take the mystery and the myths out of bass fishing.
Real tools that help you catch more fish consistently.
At Bass U TV, shoes are optional.
And I like turtles.
And that's why you want to check out Bass U TV.
Join the Bass U family.
Welcome to Bass U TV.